All right, you guys. So Act 1, Scene 6. I mean, it's definitely the final countdown for Duncan. I feel really bad because let's face it, he's going to be on his way out. We know this. We definitely know this. And let's see how well he does with it, and or Lady Macbeth does too. So we are now in the Macbeth's castle, and Duncan's arriving. Let's see. Maybe they're just gonna like get him right there. I don't know. Let's check it out.
Act 1, Scene 6. About to enter Macbeth's castle are King Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, Banquo, Lennox, Macduff, Ross, Angus, and the entourage of attendants.
This castle hath a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses.
This guest of summer the temple-haunting martlet does approve by his loved mansionry that the heaven's breath smells wooingly here. No jutty frees buttress nor coign of vantage, but this bird hath made his pendant bed and procreant cradle. Where they most breed and haunt, I have observed the air is delicate.
So as Duncan arrives, he comments on how nice the castle is. He's like, "Oh wow, this is such a pretty place." He's like, "It's the air smells really good." He's just like, "Oh, this is a nice place they have here." And then Banquo, this is the irony. I love this. Banquo then goes and points out that there's a martin nesting there, which is a bird that often nests in churches. And so the martin makes Banquo think of heaven words. I know them. Yeah, about that. Well, Duncan's about to go to heaven, I guess. Oh no. But remember what waits for Duncan within? Well, it's not heavenly, that's for sure. It's more of like, I don't know, the evilness of the devil. Speaking of, Lady Macbeth is going to enter.
Enter Lady Macbeth.
See, our honoured hostess. The love that follows us sometime is our trouble, which still we thank as love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid God yield us for your pains, and thank us for your trouble.
All our service, in every point twice done, and then done double, were poor and single business to contend against those honours deep and broad, wherewith your majesty loads our house. For those of old, and the late dignities heaped up to them, we rest your hermits.
So Duncan goes and thanks her for being a hostess, although, like, truthfully, she didn't have a choice. Remember, it was just more of like Duncan being like, "We're having a sleepover." But then she just kind of demurs and she's like, "Oh, no, Your Majesty, it's really no trouble at all. None." She's like, oh, just because we know like what's going on, it just seems so evil. Oh, it's terrible.
Where's the Thane of Cawdor? We coursed him at the heels, and had a purpose to be his purveyor. But he rides well, and his great love, sharp as his spur, hath holp him to his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guest tonight.
Your servants ever have theirs, themselves, and what is theirs, in compt to make their audit at your highness's pleasure, still to return your own.
Give me your hand. Conduct me to mine host. We love him highly, and shall continue our graces towards him. By your leave, hostess.
Together they all enter the Macbeth's castle.
So Duncan's just like, "Hey, where's our glorious Macbeth, the new Thane of Cawdor?" He's like, "I hope that he made it here before I did." And she's like, "Oh, yes, 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 yes. Here, let's let's go on in together. I'm so happy that you're here. She really is. She is just super excited. And Duncan's just like, oh, yes, go ahead, lead me to the inside of your glorious home. This is going to be amazing. So that is the end of scene 6. It's very, very short. And remember, we had that irony when Banco was just like, oh, yeah, the Martin, that's the guy that goes and nests in churches. So this place must be like heaven on earth. No. All right. So we're going to be moving into the last little bit of Act 1 here. And we're still inside Macbeth's castle. And let's see what Macbeth is up to.
Act 1, Scene 7. A room in the castle. Downstairs are enormous preparations for Duncan's great banquet. Enter Macbeth.
If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease success, but that this blow might be the be-all and the end-all. Here, but here upon this bank and shoal of time, would jump the life to come. But in these cases we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught, return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips.
All right, so I'm going to cut on in there. So Macbeth comes on in and he says that he is willing to risk going to hell so he can be king. I mean, that's a choice. But there's consequences. And he realizes that there is going to be judgment on earth if he's ever found out. So it's kind of like karma. So what actions he does will come back to him, because let's face it, it's not like when he's out on the battlefield. It's not like he has a reason to go and kill Duncan. Duncan's a good king. Instead, he just wants to be king, and therefore he's going to do it. So he's being very selfish. He is not being selfless. He's not trying to do it for the betterment of the country. He's just doing it because he thinks he's going to look good in a crown.
He's here in double trust. First, as I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed. Then, as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off, and pity, like a naked new-born babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherubin horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other.
So then he's just like, wow, the king trusts me, both as his subject and his host, and yet Macbeth still plans to kill him. And Macbeth says, well, I should be doing everything in my power to protect him, not be planning his death. And so he realizes that like he only wants to kill because of this ambition. It's not because Duncan's a bad king like Claudius. Nope, nope, nope. Well, I mean, even Claudius wasn't that bad of a king. He was a terrible human, but he wasn't a bad king. But at least Hamlet had justification, because Claudius had gone and killed his dad. So there's that justification. Whereas with Macbeth, there's zero. He's just being selfish, not selfless, selfish. And so what do you guys think? Is it destiny or fate, or a choice that leads Macbeth to contemplate killing Duncan? I mean, does Macbeth have a choice in this matter? Or are his hands tied? Does he have to kill Duncan? But does he still have the choice in order to say to his wife, no, I'm not going to do this? Does he have that choice? She might stab him. Oh gosh. So you think that she's goodness. But okay, let's take Lady Macbeth out of the picture. Does he have a choice? Yeah, he does. Yeah. He really wants to be king. And so then it becomes okay, he must have had that thought in his head already. It's not that the witches were just all of a sudden like doing like some voodoo magic or something and being like casting a spell in order to make him immediately start to think about becoming king. No, it's always been in the back of his head. And did it just kind of make it come to fruition a little faster? Or especially after him being so amazing out on that battlefield where he's just all like, yep, I am now the Thane, and therefore I would become the next king. So she's instigating it. Okay. And he shared that in his letter that he wanted to be king. Okay. So he was kind of waffling. It's the only thing he can think about. Because of Malcolm becoming the next king. But I mean, also remember back then, like you're going to be good if you last the day, no matter no matter what. People died very quickly back then. So I mean, just because Malcolm's a young man, I mean, yes, statistically he would probably last a lot longer, but not necessarily. So it's definitely that fate versus free will that is coming up. Of how often are we influenced by outside factors, but ultimately we make those choices ourselves. You think that Lady Macbeth is the bad influence? They are well matched. They are well matched. Yeah. It's like that she's the one who's like, yes, we are doing this date night. Oh gosh. No, we're doing it now. Let's see if she can actually follow through with it, because let's face it, it's a lot easier in order to say that yes, you would do something until the reality is there. I mean, out of the two of them, he's the only one who knows what it's like to go and take a life and has that responsibility and has that within his conscience, even though it was a justified type of thing, because he's a soldier. But, that is still something that is so, I mean, that would weigh heavily upon a person, no matter what, I would imagine. All right, so now speaking of, our favorite character ever is going to come on in, Lady Macbeth. I don't know why I had to sing that, but I did, apparently.
Now enters Lady Macbeth to join her husband.
How now? What news?
He has almost supped. Why have you left the chamber?
Hath he asked for me?
No, you not he has.
We will proceed no further in this business.
Did y'all hear that? He says, no, we are not going to kill Duncan. He's like, I've been thinking about this. No. The answer is no. We are not going to do this. Good idea, but no. Bad. No, no, no. We're not going to do it. So let's see what his reasoning is.
He hath honoured me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valour as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage?
Peace! And to do all that may become a man who dares do more is none.
Whew. So Lady Macbeth hears this, and instead of her being like, okay, or let's talk about this, nope, she berates him. She's just all like, what? She's like, what is wrong with you? And so she is totally breaking these gender roles for the time. She's not acting like a quote unquote usual female. And she asks if he really is a man and why isn't he willing to go after something that he truly wants, no matter what the means are. She's like, I don't care. The ends justify the means. We're going to kill him. You did call it. You did call it. Where she's just like, it is time for the stabby stabs. Let us go. And so, I mean, but do the ends justify the means in this case? No, it really doesn't. And so he's just like, no, stop. I can't handle this. Quit being mean. I don't like it. So let's see if she does.
What beast was then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums, and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this.
Whew, well, so Lady Macbeth like hears the line, and then Lady Macbeth's just like, boom, let me just go way across that. Wow. So she questions his intentions, and she's like, you were a man when you wrote to me and told me about the prophecy. She's like, well, then what happened? Dang, girl, calm down. And then she says that fate wants it to be so, and that he's only freaking out because it seems so easy to do. She's like, but fate wants us to kill him. And so Lady Macbeth would be man enough. And then she says that this is horrible, by the way. This is just absolutely horrible. That she would bash in the head of her own nursing child. So that's an infant. That's like a baby before it's even gotten any of its teeth, because she was talking about its boneless gums. Oh my gosh. So she would go and bash in her baby's head in order to get her way. Like Lady Macbeth, that is way too far. Oh my gosh. Like, dang. You did call it. You did call it. Yes. I mean, she says, I have given Zuck and know how tender it is to love the babe that milks me. So that means that she has given birth and has had a baby. And she's like, yeah, I would, I love the baby, but I still would have bashed his brains in. What is wrong with you, lady? That's horrible. You don't, that's no, 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 no. So let's see how Macbeth reacts. Huh. I hope he's just like, what is wrong with you?
If we should fail.
Fail? But screw your courage to the sticking place, and we'll not fail. When Duncan is asleep, whereto the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him, his 2 chamberlains will I with wine and wassail so convince that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason a limbeck only. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lie as in a death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers, who shall bear the guilt of our great quell?
So she's like, we can't fail. This is going to be awesome. And she says, okay, here's the plan. This is what we're going to do. The plan is to kill Duncan while he's sleeping. He'll never see it coming because he's sleeping. Ooh, that makes me like not want to ever sleep again. Oh gosh. Right. And then there's like a presence and he wakes up, but it's too late then. So she says that she's going to go and drug the wine to make the guards not remember her and Macbeth killing Duncan. So as you guys were asking, like last week, you're like, well, what about, his entourage? Well, she's going to drug them. And she's like, and then we'll go and make it look like the guards killed him. And then they'll be blamed for his murder. And we're free. And we get to become king and queen. Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth. No wonder we had that meme of Lady Macbeth. No, more like Lady Macbeth. Yeah. So let's see how Macbeth reacts to this.
Bring forth men children only, for thy undaunted metal should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chamber, and used their very daggers that they have done?
So Macbeth's just all like, oh, that sounds like a really good plan, actually. Yeah, actually, I can get behind this. He's like, okay, so we drug the guards, and then we'll go and use their swords to go and stabby stab Duncan and kill him that way. He's like, and then we can like put blood all over those guards. He's like, oh, this is brilliant. He's like, you are so smart. Like, I'm glad to see that they have such a strong marriage, but dang, like I don't want to go up against these two. Woof, they're intense.
Who dares receive it other, as we shall make our griefs and clamours roar upon his death.
I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away, and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what the false heart doth know.
And that's the end of Act 1. Ooh, so she says, this is like the perfect plan ever. No one is going to question this. She's like, and then afterwards, we have to just act like super upset, because their king is dead. Oh my gosh. Yeah, something kind of like that, except obviously a lot better. And so at the end of Act 1, Macbeth changes his mind yet again. And what is the plan? He is going to kill Duncan. He and Lady Macbeth will kill Duncan. And that, you guys, is the end of Act 1.